Urban Times family, I have the distinct honor and pleasure with having on the line right now the voice behind Juicy Fruit. That sultry sound that actually came forward and still prevalent to today, that gets you rocking. I mean, it's just amazing. I'm blessed. I'm excited right now because I get to actually talk to Tawatha Agee. Now, get ready, people, because like I said, this is historic right here. So y'all just hold on because we're getting ready to get started. How are you today, sis?
I am great. I'm very happy to be talking to you today.
Well, thank you. We're happy as well. The Urban Times family is happy to learn more about you. I mean, from, some of us who have followed your work from back in the day to even now and the work that you're doing. I mean, you are busy. I'm just going to put it out there. You stay busy, sis.
Thank goodness I do stay busy. I'm very fortunate and very blessed to be able to do something that I love to do and that people receive. They receive it very well. And so I'm always happy to be working and, singing. That's my life. That's my life. That's like breathing for me.
Oh, this is true. This is true because a lot of people don't understand how you come from a very solid music background. I mean, of course, you sang in the choir, you played piano at the local church, and then you went to high school for music. I mean, it's just amazing. And I want to throw a quote out there to you because New York Times said it best when they say you are an acrobatic gospel charge soprano. That's saying a lot. That's saying a lot right there, okay? I mean, those, for them to use those words, those type of accolades is amazing. And then even right now, when we hear Juicy Fruit, I don't care where you are, what you're doing. When you hear that, you've got to slow down everything and just sit back and listen to it because your music, your voice still stir people up.
Juicy evokes memories in everybody. From grandma to auntie to your uncle to your brothers and sisters. Everybody has a version of Juicy in their head. Everybody. And I love that. I love that.
Indeed. And see, here's the question. Did you even think that when you recorded that song back in the 80s, I want to say around 82, 83, did you think that it would be still, did you think it would be still prevalent today? I mean, just still invoke those emotions and people thinking back and the passion?
Well, you have, Carrie, there's no way that you can tell what your song is going to do. But when we did Juicy, I mean, I was on tour with a rock band in Europe, and Mtume was working on the music in the studio with the guys, and he said, you got to come back because there's one more song to do. I had some days off, went there, sang the song, went back to Europe. And then when the record came out, I would constantly call to see, where the record was. And, it was like, oh, my God, it's like number 90 on the top 100. I was like, oh, okay. And then before I knew it, it was like number 20, then number 10. And by the time I got off tour, the record was number 1. I was like, oh, my God, this is amazing. And I was working with a group by the name of Brian Ferry and Roxy Music, which is a big pop group in the 80s and still to this day. But they were so gracious and so kind that they had a concert at Radio City in New York, and Radio City Music Hall in New York, and they would play Juicy during the intermission. Now, who does that? Nobody does that. And they played that song so many times. It's like, oh my God, I wish they would stop playing it. But that's how gracious they were. But that's how big that song was, and nobody expected that. But of course, I'm very happy that it happened, so I could get a chance to experience what that was like. But it's actually a good song. It's actually a good song, and I think that the beat just relates to everyone. The rhythm relates to everybody. And all you have to do is hear the intro, and everybody knows what it is. And you just, you just start moving and grooving because, whoa, Rose, what's that song? Yeah, that's that Juicy Fruit song. Everybody likes it. And I'm so grateful. And they play that particular song like it's new. They still play that song like it's new here. So it's
Yes.
like, wow. And then it being sampled. I'm sorry, my neighbors are mowing their lawn. So you might hear a lawn, you might hear a lawnmower. And so they play that song and like it's new and it being sampled by Biggie and Keisha Cole and others. It just kept it into existence. And so I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Yes. We're loving it. We appreciate you guys doing it, especially that voice when it comes on. Oh my God. It is
You know what? You
simply
should have seen it.
amazing.
Should have seen it. If you could have seen it live, it was amazing. It was really when the band was together. Oh, it was amazing. It was a showstopper. So, but you know, it was a good band. It was a good song. So, you know, those two rights made three rights. You know what I mean? So it was great. It was great.
Well, and our people need to know too, like our fans really need to know, because you know the hits didn't stop there. I mean, you know, you went from that to You, Me, and He. That right there is a classic in itself. You know.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was such a fertile musical time. I mean, it seems like everything that Mtume Lucas, initially Mtume Lucas, you know, they produced Stephanie Mills and Phyllis Hyman and a bunch of other people. I mean, that was a good run. And then the band, Mtume, came about. And then we had Juicy and You, Me, and He. And it was great, just a great live show. You know, so this little church girl was very fortunate to be involved in all of that. Very, very fortunate. Very fortunate.
Indeed. And it doesn't stop there too, because you work with so many artists, and then like you know, you're a songwriter. You know, you've done credits in regards to songwriting. You're talking about movie soundtracks. We're talking about TV, jingles, and you're touring now. I mean, that's just amazing.
Stop. It didn't stop. I mean, it did not stop. And, you know, most people think that, like, when you're an artist, you always have to be, like, in the front, and like in the limelight. But I'm a living witness that that's not necessarily so. A lot of times I work with other people, I'm in the background. Or I'm singing if I'm doing a TV show. I used to work for Saturday Night Live quite a bit, and you wouldn't see the singers on the stage because we'd be singing in a booth. So, I mean, it's not about being seen. It's about getting the work done for me. And I had great opportunities singing jingles for television and radio. So you never saw my face, but you would hear me all the time. You couldn't put a face to what you were hearing. So, you know, it's very fortunate. I've been very fortunate, and I like the fact that it's not all about being in the front. It's not all about being like the main focus. I mean, that's a good thing, but if you can't do that, there are other things that can be done. So you can like earn a living for yourself, you know?
Indeed. Yes, I like that. I like that. You don't have to be in the forefront, but you can play in the back, and you can still do your work and actually, which leads to my next question, share that wisdom, because I know you're very passionate about each one, teach one.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I try to give people, the benefit of, I don't want to say my wisdom because that sounds too egotistic, but I like to give them the benefit of what's happened to me. And so you know, so you don't make the same mistakes, or it'll avoid you from making a mistake. You know, if you just listen to somebody else sometimes. Because, you know, artists, the younger artists always think, well, I'm going to be a star in 2 weeks, and I don't really have to work. I paid my dues. I mean, I sang at the local club for a month, and so I paid my dues. I'm ready to be a star. But it's like, it's not about being a star. It's about being an artist for me, and just developing your craft. And being able to get along with people, and being able to sing with other people. A lot of people can't do that. They're great singers, but they can't sing in a group, you know. So it's important to be able to blend with people and just get along. I mean, it's as simple as that. But you have to work on your craft, and you have to be ready when somebody calls you to work. and not necessarily, like I said, not necessarily being a soloist, but be ready. Be ready to go on a tour. Be ready to do what the artist wants you to do, because that's what you are. When you're a background singer, that's what you have to do. You're supporting the primary artist. So it's I think it's a good way to work until by the time you are ready to take front and center, you can appreciate what goes on around you. Because it's not all about you; it's about the group. It's what makes the artist look good. And so everybody participates. Everybody makes a contribution into what makes the artist better. Now that's the art of being a background singer. Now, as a soloist, it's like, of course, you want everything to be right, and there's a way to communicate with people to get what you want, so the audience can see what you want them to see.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Very good point.
Yeah.
Okay, that's that professionalism. I love that. So music, though, we know it's just a big part of you. I mean, it's a major part of who you are as an individual. But here's a little side question we gotta ask, because you talked about the young people and music. What's in your playlist right now? Who are you listening to?
Oh, okay. I listen to. This is easy. I listen to Roxanne Patterson. I listen to D'Angelo. I listen to. I do like SZA. I like her. Daniel Caesar and her. Who else do I like? Bilal. Love Bilal. Love Kendrick Lamar. And, of course, Lettucey. Marvin Gaye. I Want You, 1974, the whole album. Jerry Butler, I'm going way back. Jasmine Sullivan. I love the Dave Matthews Band. I love, who else? Now these are people on my playlist. I love Dietrich Haddon. I love Richard Smallwood. Wow. I mean, because I got more than one playlist. You know what I'm saying? I got like different moods. You know what I'm saying? So it depends on how I'm feeling. That's who I'll be listening to. But I like a little bit of everybody.
And, it's funny that you even said that, because that was going to be my next question, because just looking, how you truly embrace music, and, you worked in various genres and with various people, like you just mentioned.
Right.
You're talking about diversity right now. So how important is it for other artists to have that type of concept to broaden the range in regards to music, being diverse and being involved in so much, like the way you have done?
I think that you should be open to receiving that. I don't think you should just do one thing. I think you should be able to do many things, and you have to in order to be ready, you have to stay ready. You have to. So whoever calls you, you never know who's going to call you for a job. I mean, even though your heart might be in gospel music, your heart might be in R&B music. What if a country western person calls you? You know what I'm saying? You have to at least know what the other music is, and be familiar with it in case somebody calls you to do that. If somebody calls me for a gig, what I do is research whoever the artist is, so I can become familiar with their work. So when I see them, I'm familiar with it. So it's not like I have to like start from scratch. They don't have to start from scratch with me, because I've already researched the work before I got there. So it's important to know. Okay, even though you're going to be a singer and you write your own songs, that's wonderful. But in the meantime, you got to pay rent. You got to pay a mortgage. You got to pay whatever. You got to pay for your music lessons, your voice lessons, whatever. You have to be able to work with any and everybody. And just to see if you like it. You might not like it. But if you do, then you meet these people, and then they introduce you to somebody else, and it's constantly evolving. It's constantly evolving, and you can't just I don't think you should limit yourself to one thing. You have to be open to everything. I didn't think when I left Howard, I never thought I'd be working with somebody by the likes of Stephanie Mills or Luther or Aretha Franklin or Steely Dan. I mean, I always dreamed of working with Steely Dan. And when they called me for the job, let me tell you, it's like, well, we're going to have this rehearsal. It's like, oh my goodness. I know all these songs, but I listened to so much Steely Dan. My nieces and nephews started singing and stuff. I mean, because music was constantly playing. Their music was constantly playing until I had it like in my system. Their particular style of music, which was quite different, and went in there and knocked it out. I worked with them for 2 years. 2 tours.
Wow.
So it's like, hey, you got to be ready. And I love what I do, so I accept the challenge of learning other styles of music, and because it's just something that I want to accomplish and conquer, And so that's just my spirit. I have to be able to walk into a situation and be confident, be confident of what I'm representing and how I represent the music of whoever is hiring me. Because it's always business. It's always about business. And I remember Mtume told me years ago, he said, when you go out to work with other people, remember what you represent. Remember what you represent. And I always think about that, and I tell that to everyone. We're talking about each one, teach one. I always tell the young ladies, remember who and what you represent. It's just, there's a certain standard that you have to keep. And, it's different for us than it is for everybody else. So you have to set yourself to a higher standard just to maintain, what everybody else is doing. Always remember who you represent and how you want to be represented. So it's I don't know. You're constantly evolving. Because I mean, as I work with different people, it's like, okay, they like this. They sing this way or they sing that way. It's like, okay, I can handle that. And usually you have to show people that you are there for business. This is not play. This is business. I mean, you can have fun, but remember, it is a business. And I remember, this is a true story. I got a gig for a young lady, a very good gig, and she didn't take it seriously. She just thought she had made it. It's like, no, nobody ever made it. Everyone's constantly evolving. It's constantly evolving. You never make it because you got to keep striving for something. You don't stop because you think you made it. She thought she made it and never got hired again. Because, she knew everything, and, some people you can't tell, they don't take instruction well.
Right.
They don't take constructive criticism. And if you're going to be in this business, you have to be able to take constructive criticism and learn from that and keep it moving. So it is a business. It's not all about the performance. It's about the business also. So you just have to make sure that you're up on that if this is what you want to do. So,
I like that.
There it is.
I like that. That's very true. That's very true. That leads to the longevity that many of you have been blessed in order to have, even to today.
And you know what? And it's not. I'm sorry. I just wanted to.
No, go ahead.
And it's not that that I work like every year, every month, every year, every day. It wasn't like that. But it was the quality of the jobs that I got. You know what I mean? It's the quality. It's how I wanted to be represented. A lot of jobs I turned down because I didn't think it would be a good look for me. So you have to, like I said, always remember who you represent, and you just can't take any, and this is going to sound very elitist, but you can't take each and every job because you have to think about what it's going to do for you. If this is going to be a good look for you. So I've been fortunate enough to be able to say no to some jobs because I didn't think it was going to be a good look. But all the things that you see in my discography and my credits, it's like, oh wow, look at these people. This is great. Lenny Kravitz, David Matthews, Luther, Mtume, Chromeo, Michael Jackson, the Blue Man Group, Roxy Music, Brian Ferry, Steely Dan, Stephanie Mills, Teddy Pendergrass, Roberta Flack, Phyllis Hyman, the Jay Giles Band, Sweetie Politi, Moby. I mean, I mean, this goes back to the 80s. So you just have to be selective in what you do, and make sure what you represent is what you want, is how you want to be seen.
Words live by. I like that. That's some good words, and especially with our younger artists that may be listening, or will be listening to this interview, that's very important for them to hear that, and I definitely appreciate you sharing that with them. So let's have a little fun then, because I gotta ask you this, because you've talked about the business and you've talked about how you have to stay focused and you're staying busy, and we know without a shadow of a doubt you're busy. So I want you to share with our readers. You stay busy, you're always touring, you're doing so much, but how do you relax? I mean, how do you take time for yourself? Because I think that is very important for up-and-coming artists to know, other people that are in this industry. So how do Tawatha relax?
Well, sometimes you have a lot of downtime, and like you have a lot of downtime, and I think that you get to know yourself that way, because you can even be on tour, and you have a few days off, and then it's like, let me just chill. I like to read. I like movies. I love oh my God, I love like the Home and Garden channel. Things like that. Just, not that I'm like a decorator or anything like that, but I like to watch that because it just helps me to relax, and I'm always listening to music. It never stops. I mean, music is on like almost 24 hours a day in my house. So for me, it's relaxing, or just, I enjoy doing nothing. I enjoy just being, I enjoy just focusing on like the lawnmower that's still on across the street from my house. The lawnmower he's still on that lawnmower. But I enjoy my home. I just enjoy, I enjoy just being. I enjoy just being. And I also have my faith that I'm into. So it's like, it's a beautiful life. And I always try to see the good in everything and everybody. I always see the glass half full as opposed to half empty. Always. I've always been like that. So I enjoy listening to like jazz records. I enjoy listening to gospel music and just going to concerts on my time off to seeing somebody else work. You know what I mean? So it's or just driving around, just it's actually a very simple life, other than you seeing me on a screen or on a TV show for 5 minutes or a show for an hour. It's a very simple life. It's a very simple life.
Well, people, y'all heard it right here. I mean, I'm just overfilled right now with the words and what she has shared with us. And before we close out, you got to tell our fans.
No, you're kidding. No, it's got to be longer. It's got to be longer.
I know, right? I know. I wish it could be as well. I mean, I could sit and talk to you all day in regards to, because I mean, just so much what you're sharing with us has just been amazing. But also, it's just your background and your history. I mean, from where you started. I mean, you're just so humble in regards to how you started off. I mean, to even now, and how you say, it's not wisdom, and you don't want to be sound egotistical, but it is. I mean, let's be honest. There's a lot of wisdom, and I think we have been blessed just to have you to share your talent with us. I mean, I got to say that. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you for your kind words. I really, really appreciate that. But I realize that my life is I have a charmed life. I mean, only because I was willing to take a chance. I was willing to take a chance on this music thing, because my life. Well, I came up. I was the first one in my family to go to college, and so what's expected of us is like you go to school, you get your education, you get a job, you buy a house, and that's it. But it's like I wanted to do more. I wanted to take a chance on something else. I wanted to take a chance because I didn't want to look in the mirror like 20 years from when I started and say, what do you think would have happened if you hadn't called him Mtume, or because you did, you know, how was your life, how different your life had been if you never called Mtume, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I did make that call because I wanted to take a chance, and I wanted to do something different. You know, I wanted to do something different because I read about people who lived in foreign countries and that were singers and you know, because I'm from Newark, New Jersey, and so it's like I wanted to see what the rest of the world looked like. I wanted to travel, and that's just what happened to me. That's what I did through doing something that I love, through singing. So I took the chance, and I think people should be able to take a chance just to see if it's going to work, just to dip your toe in the water to see if it's going to work. But then when you do that, you got to be dedicated to it. You know, you can't just put your toe in and take it right out of the water. You got to stay there a minute just to see if you're going to like it. You know, but that worked for me. That worked for me because I took a chance. I believe in taking chances. It doesn't work all the time, but it worked for me.
And we're glad that it did. Man, we're glad that we did. And I like the way you said that too, because it's about commitment, and that's the one thing.
It's about commitment.
That you got to share that, you know, with, you know, and I think that you have done that, because I mean, even with the artists that you work with right now, I know you've been working with a lot of young artists, even the one that's out of Canada.
Chromeo.
Chromeo, yeah.
Chromeo.
So,
they are amazing, and I keep in touch with them, you know, and I sent them, they were on Instagram or something, and I said, oh, you guys look so cool, and they said, well, we just want to make you proud of us. It's like, what?
wow.
What?
See?
I mean, I work for these guys, you know, and I enjoy their music. I enjoy them. They're very knowledgeable about the history of our music, and so they like having me there, you know, and I can do the work. And so it's about, you know, each one teach one. So I get something from them, they get something from me.
Exactly. See, I told you, people look to you for that. That's amazing, and it's well deserved. So definitely, always understand it's well deserved. Okay, Tawatha, so now you've got to share with us. Now, there was an unsung based on Mtume just recently, so tell us a little bit more about that.
Oh, there was an unsung episode of Mtume, James Mtume, which is the premiere episode of this season, and it's really, really good. It talks about Mtume's life and not only the music, but the man, his background, his activist background, his musical background, away from the R&B, his jazz background, and then how he formed the group Mtume, which I was a part of, and it's one of the better unsungs that I've seen. Even if I'm in it, I'm sorry, I might be bragging a little bit, but check out Unsung on TV1, James Mtume. It just covers his life, and you'll be surprised at what you find out. Unsung, TV1, James Mtume.
Oh, man, yeah, that's going to be great right there. I can't wait to check that out myself.
Oh no, it was really, really good. I mean, it wasn't your typical unsung. This one was very informative from beginning to end. So, you know, and you realize that he's a very complex man, and he's had his hat in many arenas. So you'll get to learn more about James Mtume, the man, and how he, you know, went on to become a music legend. It's gonna be good.
Man.
It'll be good.
Yes, indeed.
Make sure you check it out now.
How can our fans keep in contact with what you're doing? Because, like I said, I know you're touring, and I know you got a lot going on, but how can they follow you?
Okay, I'm on Instagram and Facebook. It's Tawatha Agee, at Tawatha Agee. One word, at Tawatha Agee. TAWATHA AGEE. And I have a beautiful website, TawathaAgee.com.
All right.